When you think about cheating controversy in Minecraft, there is one name that comes to mind. Dream. Dream lost all competitive credibility years ago, when he was found out to be using mods to increase his luck with mobs in his Minecraft speedruns. When his pull trade odds were stacked up against other speedrunners at the time, he found out to be guilty. He then responded by paying for an anonymous astrophysicist to debunk these odds given by Geosquare and the MinecraftSpeedrun.com team. He failed and was promptly banned. Luckily for him, I doubt he'd stack up to any speedrunners post 2020. But you all knew this, so what happened this time? Well, to find this out, we must cast our minds back 5 years ago, to MCC 11. Dream is teamed with 3 industry plants on the future Frankensteins, and after a pretty poor build mark game 6...
How are we 8th? How are we 8th? What are we doing wrong?
The gang must pull off an impressive Parkour Warrior to fight for the top 2 position. However, Dream has a mysterious trick up his sleeve. He's gonna cheat. I'm sorry if that wasn't very clear. Let me explain. Pretty much any hackline in Minecraft has a feature which allows you to auto-parkour. In layman's terms, this automatically makes you jump on the last tick you can be stood on a block, which means you can consistently do most jumps in the game, especially those featured in early Parkour Warrior, and especially salmon ladders. For reference, here is me doing salmon ladders with this cheat. First, we must discuss all the evidence leading up to the salmon ladders at the end. Dream starts the run by doing some pretty clean stair boosts. And I want to quickly clear something up. I don't believe he's using a client such as Worst, which is extremely funny because my reasoning for this is because it's so badly coded. I believe this is something Dream developed himself so that there were no traces of a hack client. This is because blocks like stairs and walls trigger this cheat. I'll return to this later. 11 out of 26 of the jumps he completes in the first stage of the parkour are him jumping on the final tick of the block. Even some jumps where he doesn't have to make the distance, he's still relying on the cheat. Then we move to stage 2 where he continues to jump on the final tick of every trapdoor, but then he does this. He accidentally walks off the side of the trapdoor, but the cheat forces him to jump. He's audibly confused by this, clearly not meaning to. Then Dream shows off how genuinely horrible he is at Minecraft by continuously failing this jump in between the walls. This is the first part of the course where his hacks don't help him, all the while he's still jumping on the final tick of the blocks. Next up, Dream attempts these slime jumps, where his cheats trigger as he falls on the edge of the block. This forces him to jump, which kills all your height in the old versions. Bear in mind that this whole time, Fruit is gapping him by over a stage. This next part is so unbelievably blatant. He tries to act as if he's taking his time, but realistically the way you'll be approaching them is random anyway, unless he's able to jump perfectly at the end of each block. Up to this point, Dream has not failed by running off the end of the block once, supporting the theory that he is cheating, until in this next clip. Dream does these first 2 jumps perfectly, jumping at the final tick as always. However, when he goes to make the next jump, while walking past the wall his jump activates, dropping him into the void. What he does next is turn off the cheat so it doesn't happen again, leading to his first and only time walking off a block the entire game. He then turns it on again to complete the section. So, that's great. Dream makes a grave mistake on this final section, because he tries to do a jump without cheating. You can actually hear his keyboard noises for this first absolute abomination of a Pessi. You can hear him press space twice and ends up jumping too early. However, on his next try, you can't hear him press space a second time, and promptly jumps on the last tick and makes it.
Jumping too early.
Now don't even get me started on these salmon ladders. I asked my friend Brinks, who is a top parkourer, for his 2-tick success rate, the timing needed for these ladders, and these were the responses I got. Obviously they don't know it for a fact, but they have a pretty good idea. Dream did 16 of these in a row in 2020, when tick timings weren't even really known. During the whole climb, there isn't one spacebar heard through his mic. He then shouts about how hard it all was.
That was hard! That was hard!
Then Epic Landlord blows up the map. Obviously this was years ago and it doesn't matter anymore, but it just goes to show how much of a fraud this guy is. Genuinely never done anything competitive without cheating. I also want to give a quick shout out to Daniel for finding this out, and Ham Sandwiches for reviewing it on stream. These guys are both incredible parkourers, and Ham does pretty awesome content pretty much daily. So check them both out. The links are in the description. Okay, bye.